Plaintiff Dan Grabsky says he's never met the defendant, but Dan knows he's had a lot of run-ins with the law due to his reckless behavior. Dan claims the defendant was speeding on his dirt bike on Dan's property when he ran over Dan's dog. Dan claims the dog's injuries were so severe that he was forced to put the dog down, and he's suing for the veterinary bills and the cost of his dog. Defendant Eddie Blockland says he was driving down abandoned train tracks when he hit Dan's dog. Eddie admits he drove off, but claims it was because he was in the woods and had no idea what kind of animal he hit. Eddie's countersuing for impound fees.
To start with you. Yes, sir.
First to say, Your Honor, I've never met the gentleman before, but I do know he's had a lot of run-ins with the police because of his reckless behavior, such as speeding, running stop signs, things like this. And this is the reason that I am here today, because of his behavior.
How many times are you aware of him speeding, since this is so relevant to the case, you believe?
Your Honor, I have a really clean
Pardon me?
I have a really clean driving record.
I have his record here from
really clean. Let's see.
I have the record here from the Lake County. This is just from the Lake County Sheriff's Department.
All right.
In Indiana.
Maybe we have this different person.
I've had tickets and stuff, but I mean, innocent.
You just said you had a really clean...
innocent until proven guilty, right? I mean, I've had a lot of that taken care of.
Taken care of how?
I mean, you know, I have a lawyer to prove my case and everything.
Oh, you were acquitted on every single thing that you were charged with?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, you're not sure. You have a very clean record, sir. You've lied to me already. I'm not going to be able to believe anything you tell me. You interrupted me to lie to me. In fact, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 violations, and I'm not talking about parking tickets. Traffic stops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alcohol.
I've never had an alcohol ticket.
Is that the second lie?
So I'm looking at public intoxication on April 28th of 02.
I wasn't driving.
I said alcohol.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my driving
Whatever
record.
you thought, I'm telling you what I said. I said you had an alcohol-related arrest. What does that mean?
I'm agreeing.
Oh, so you do agree that you have
I thought you were stating
been
that
violent. Pardon me?
I thought you were stating that I was driving.
All right, listen carefully and stop interrupting me to tell me a lie. Go ahead, sir.
On September 26th, approximately 6 o'clock at night, I was out in my backyard with my purebred, fully trained English Pointer hunting dog, and we were training because we was only about 4 days away from the hunting season. Since I was fine-tuning him, I had a shock collar on him around his throat.
What does that do? Keep him from going beyond a particular boundary?
Right. Well, this isn't the kind of like a fenced one. This is the one that I have the control of it.
Okay.
And if he doesn't do something I like, and then I give him a little zap, and that says, hey, okay. You know, and then he'll come back to whatever I say. So I had complete control of the dog at this time.
You just torture him, in other words.
Not really, sir. It's a lot of people do it.
I know I used to do it with my dogs, and somebody came up and that's what they accused. You're torturing that dog.
Yeah, I've heard it before.
Well,
I've heard it
you
before.
better be glad that I have this thing around his collar. He might torture you. Well, who do you want tortured, the dog or you? Go ahead. So I understand.
So, like I said, I was out on my property, and the defendant came along on a dirt bike onto private property, and I say he's going to be doing about 50 miles an hour when he struck my dog on my property. I yelled at him. He did not stop. He kept on traveling. I ran over to my dog.
Sir?
I never entered his property. I got pictures showing his property.
Very good. Go ahead.
I ran over to my dog, and let me just say that, you know, he's not just a dog. You know, he's my friend. He's my hunting companion. You know, he's a member of my family.
How long had you had him?
I had him for 9 years. I raised him from a 8-week puppy. You know, so he was my buddy. And so I got to my dog, which was only about 15 feet away from me. I yelled at the defendant, and he didn't pay any attention, just kept right on going. One of my neighbors heard the commotion, so he came around from his garage, and I yelled at him to go next door to my house and ask my wife to call the police, which he did. I picked up my dog, carried it back to the garage area, and in the meantime, my other neighbor, who is an EMT, came out with her medical bag and started doing some treatment on my dog, trying to stop the bleeding and stuff like this. A little bit later, the 3 squad cars showed up from the Lake County Sheriff's Department. I gave them my report. I gave them the what I saw as far as the colors of the bike and everything like that. And so they took off, going in different directions looking for him. They found him over about 5-6 blocks away from me at a friend's house, with the motorcycle hid behind the garage, and he was there. And the police went and they questioned him. At first, he denied that he did it until the police checked the motorcycle, felt that it was hot. They questioned him some more, and he admitted to the officers that he did strike my dog. And that's on the police report, right? That's right there.
Let me hear from you, sir.
What happened was, the day that this happened, my buddy lives down the road. I have pictures of Google the world over the whole area. And he lives down the road from, it's a set of abandoned railroad tracks. You can clearly see the path next to the property that we ride on. And I was going down the tracks. I have his house marked on there. You can clearly see that there's woods on one side of me and on the other side of me, all along his house. So for me to drive through the trees in there, I mean, I'll admit I was going down the tracks, flying down the tracks, and he was ahead of me, up there waiting for me because we were about to take off. When I hit I hit an animal, I looked back, I kind of seen a little fur ball rolling, and being out in the middle of the woods, I don't know what kind of animal this is. I look back, I wasn't about to stop and get bit by, some wild animal. So we continued.
Did you tell the police you knew it was a dog?
No, I told the police I didn't know it was a dog.
Okay.
We got there, they came up there, we parked our bikes in the back like we always do. They, asked, and they took my bike and everything. And after they explained it was a dog, I'm like, okay, I understand it's a dog. I hit an animal out there. And they're like, well, we're gonna have to impound your bike for animal cruelty and fleeing the scene of a crime. And, I told them, I'm like, well, it's not like I have a cell phone. If I'm out in the middle of the woods, do I just stop for every animal I hit and, send signals for an officer to come out to check what kind of animal it is?
Let me get back to him, because he can go from there. And by the way, the police report says that you told him you knew you struck a dog. So they're lying on you now? Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, number one, he's showing you pictures of a abandoned railroad right-of-way. According to Indiana state law, when a railroad right-of-way is abandoned, it becomes the property of the adjoining landowners, which I am one of. I have 4 more papers, 2 neighbors on both sides of me, each way, that are notarized saying that they never gave him permission to ride on their property.
Go ahead, sir.
And the police came back to me, to my house, and he told me that the man admitted that he did do it and that he was responsible for the medical bills, and I was ordered by the Lake County Sheriff's Department, get my dog to the emergency room right away, which I did. So I took the dog to the emergency room and had to leave him overnight because it's the only overnight place they have, which he started having seizures real bad. They had to give him morphine to calm him down. He kept having worse and worse seizures because of the head trauma he had. And about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they told me to come on over, and we talked, and I had to put my dog down for humane reasons.
Sorry to hear that. Did you all have any further contact after that?
Yes, sir, I did. I went to his friend's house. I gave him my phone number because they wouldn't give me the defendant's number. Eventually, he called me, and he just pretty much told me that it wasn't his responsibility, and that's the last time I ever talked to him.
Let me hear from you, sir.
So I was riding on the abandoned railroad tracks.
You told me that already.
Okay, well,
You told me you were flying.
Yes.
And that you hit an animal.
Yes.
You didn't know what type of animal it was.
No, sir.
Yet the police report says you finally admitted to the police that you knew it was a dog. Now, anything else you want to tell me about this case?
Not really. I mean, besides
all right. Any reason you don't believe you're responsible for it?
Because of the fact that I don't believe I was on his property and the dog wasn't on a leash.
Okay. Well, first of all, the leash law is to protect not the dog, but you. He's suing you. And you weren't bitten by the dog. You hit the dog. Follow me? All right. What is your counterclaim for? $190 for impound fees. How does he owe you?
I feel, you know, that it wasn't my responsibility that I hit the dog. And that's why I figured, you know, since my bike got impounded, that would be, you know, why should I have to pay for that? Because I feel that.
Who said your bike should be impounded?
The police.
Okay, you thought about suing them? Go to the police. Tell them, I want my money back. See what happens. Sir, your counterclaim for impoundment is dismissed. The police believed it should be impounded. They believed so because they believed that you committed a hit and run, resulting in the death of his dog. I believe the same. You admit flying. That was your quote. I was flying. Then you say you never knew it was a dog, but yet the police say you admitted to them that you knew it was a dog that you hit. Those are acts of negligence, and as a result, you're responsible for the results of your negligent actions. And that includes the cost of the dog. You have any evidence you want to show me regarding the cost?
Okay, here's training? This is the medical. Here are pictures of when I was training my dog. And here's from Outback Kennels in Kansas that primarily deal with English pointers that shows the cost of training these dogs.
Okay. This is your dog while you was training them.
Yes, sir. There's pictures of him pointing, and then a very important one of him honoring another point.
And
I have him
he
retrieving.
wants me to believe that he couldn't see that this was a dog. You thought this might have been something other than a dog. $2,626 is your judgment. Yours is dismissed.
Thank you, sir.